Hello, this is SJ Talks and Life coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. I was on Facebook and I was reading a blog about, matter of fact, I've been stumbling across some other info blogs about, and I've been reading articles and things about perms that black women put in their hair has cancer-causing agents in it, and it's causing can cause black women to get cancer. You know, the perm that they call the creamy crack that black women put in their hair. And I was reading a blog on Facebook, um, and where they said somebody said something about a law firm said something about a class action lawsuit um, being filed, and that's who started the blog, and then a lot of black women were coming in sounding off on there. And I noticed that there were a lot of black women that were coming on there saying that they had fibroids. Um, what's the other one? I couldn't pronounce. I really could not. Endometriosis, something like that. And some of them was coming in and said that they did have ovarian or uterine cancer. Um, and all the women, the black women that were coming in saying that, said that they wore perms in their hair. So I noticed there was a lot of black women coming in this blog saying that, yeah, I had fibroids, I had um, um, endometriosis, I had cancer, and stuff like that. And and I guess this law firm is going to file this, allegedly going to file this class action lawsuit if so many black women come forth and say, okay, yeah, I got cancer or fibroids or whatever, and I wear perms in my hair. Um, Black women kind of have to be careful about that because there's a lot of scams going around. It's a lot of people trying to run game, pull a fast one. So just because someone says they're legit don't mean that they are. So even if you're a black woman and you before you participate in something like that, make sure you double check, triple check, make sure that this place claiming to be a law firm is legitimate, because they could just be some scam artists just trying to make money off of black women. You know what I mean? Or who's to say that they get this class action lawsuit and they don't give the black women a cut of the money and they just run off with the money. So you gotta be leery about stuff like that, you know. You gotta be leery about stuff like that because it's all kind of scams, you know. Somebody always trying to beat us out of our money. You know, there's always some type of scam. People always trying to skim and scam and run a game. You can't hardly trust nobody no more. So you just have to do your homework and do your due diligence to double check these things and check these things out before you um, invest in something like that. So that's a disclaimer there. But I just noticed that a lot of black women were coming in there, and that was very concerning to me. That a lot of black women were coming in this thread, this blog, saying that they had cancer, they had fibroids, they had because they were wearing perms. And it was very interesting because there was also a lot of black women that came in and was saying that they had 4C hair. I guess 4C hair means very, very coarse hair uh, uh, texture, the extremely coarse hair texture. 4C, 3C, and 4C is I guess is an extremely coarse. I don't like to use the term nappy. 3C and 4C hair, I guess, is the more coarser hair. And a lot of black women were coming in and say, "Hey, I got 3C hair, I got 4C hair." You know, I don't know. how to, it's too time consuming to keep my natural hair up, or um, I don't know what to do with it in its natural state, so I gotta wear perms. And so I just thought that was really sad. I just thought that was really sad that a lot of black women came in and said that they felt like they had to wear these perms because um, they just didn't know what to do with their 3C and 4C hair. And while our hair, us black women's hair is very, very, very high maintenance, and it does, we do have to put a lot into it. And if you have a real thick hair, coarse texture, my hair had always been thin. I quit wearing perms years ago. Matter of fact, it's been so long, I don't even remember the last time I even had a perm. It's been that long. I haven't wore a perm in years. It probably since my youngest son was a baby, and he's 22 now. So I haven't wore perms in years, and that was part of my decision to stop wearing perms, getting perms. I always had thin hair. My hair had always been thin, and I've always had dandruff issues on my scalp. And as black people want to call it, tender headed. I think I was always tender headed, and also I have a issue with dandruff in my hair. So every time I would get these perms, they would burn something terrible, and I would get terrible scabs, just horrible scabs in my head and everything, and it would really burn my scalp really bad. And then by my hair being so thin, it would to me it just seemed like it broke my hair down even more. And they with my hair texture, because I had the thinner hair texture, you had to go to the beautician every week to get it washed, conditioned, all that kind of stuff. You really, really, when you have a thinner hair texture, um, as a black woman, and you have a perm, you have to really be on top of that. Um, and they will come on in every week to get it conditioned and all that kind of stuff like that. If I didn't know how to do it myself, and I thought at the time it was too expensive for me to maintain. I had kids to take care of. It was too expensive for me to maintain um, the care that is required for straight, chemically straightened hair. Plus, I thought about that too. I thought about the chemicals. I was concerned about the chemicals before all this became a big deal. Because just now and over the last, I would say, maybe 2, 3, 4 years, this has become a big issue of hip perms causing health problems with black women. But back then, when I stopped wearing perms, it wasn't even talked about back then. It wasn't even discussed. But I was concerned about that. At that time, I was concerned about the chemicals going into my scalp and into my body. I was just concerned about it because every time I would get a perm, it would really, really burn my scalp. And I felt like it caused a lot of damage to my scalp, caused an extreme amount of scabs and flaking. And I already have a dandruff issue on my scalp, always have, all my life. Plus, I've always had very, very thin hair. I didn't think it was healthy for my hair. I didn't think it was healthy for my scalp. I didn't want to keep putting those chemicals in my body. Plus, it got to be too expensive for me to keep the upkeep and maintenance that a perm requires. So that was my decision to stop wearing perms. Hit me up, sisters, in the comment section if you're not wearing perms. What was your reason for stop wearing perms? If you're still wearing perms, whatever. Whatever, if you're wearing your hair natural, if you're wearing locks, hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what your hair journey is and what decisions that you decide to make regarding your hair. I'd be interested to know. No judgment. But And that's another thing. Whereas that's a whole nother video of black women go back and forth, and they the natural women judge the black women that wear perms, and so that's a whole nother video. Um, but I was very concerned about all the black women that were coming into this blog and talking about the health problems that they were having, fibroids, and some of them felt like, you know, um, they felt like they had to wear perms because they didn't know what to do with their natural hair. There are so many beautiful natural hairstyles out here now. So many beautiful natural hairstyles that black women can wear. But it's easier said than done, because when you're talking about somebody that has 3C to 4C hair, it's a little bit more difficult unless they get dreads. The daily maintenance on someone that has 3C to 4C. I always wanted 3C and 4C hair, but but they say black women that have 3C and 4C hair, they say it requires tons, an extreme amount of maintenance. And so sometimes, a lot of times, they'll braid it up and just put it into a protective style, and put a wig on or something like that, or a weave or whatever situation like that. And the problem with wearing weaves is we get bashed from black men for wearing weaves. We get really bashed, even though other races of women wear weaves and extensions. We are the only women that get bashed and humiliated for it and accused of hating ourselves. But a lot of black women wear weaves as a protective hairstyle to protect their natural hair. Um, and I like the different styles. I don't wear weaves. I tried weaves a couple of times. One, I had a glue in. One time I had a sew in it. Each time it took my hair out. So I don't do weaves like that. But I wore a lot of I wear half wigs or whatever situation. Of course, I'm dealing with a hair loss situation right now, so that's a whole nother situation there. Um, but but Black women, we're caught between a hard rock and a hard place, because and there had to be laws passed in certain I think California passed a law saying that employers couldn't discriminate against black women because of their hair, because the employers were telling black women were trying to wear their hair as it naturally grows out of their head. They were trying to wear their natural hair, and their employer was telling them they need to change it, they need to straighten it, or whatever the situation is. And so they had to pass a law. That speaks volumes when they have to pass a law that tells an employer they can't discriminate against you for wearing your natural hair that grows out of your head. So we got to deal with. Of course, my jobs never gave me. There was times I wear a little afro to work. I'd wear my little afro or whatever situation like that. I never had any issues from any employers. Well, they better not. But I never had any. And I worked at a Myers store. I worked in retail at one time, and sometimes I would come in with my little afro or whatever. They never said nothing to me about it. So I was blessed in that aspect. But as far as a lot of black women that work in, it's a big problem with black women that work in corporate America. Black women that work in corporate America, it's a huge issue. And but then on the flip side, we get bashed from black men from wearing the weaves. And so black women, it's like we can't win. It's like we're caught between a rock and a hard place, um, and everything. So it's a lot of pressure for black women to not be natural. It's pressure. And then the black men, when black women, it seems like when black women do wear their hair in its natural state, like dreads or locks or something like that, the black men don't, or an afro or something like that, black men don't like it. It just doesn't seem like, I've heard from several black women that when they wear their hair in its natural state, natural state, a natural hairstyle, they don't get as much attention than they do when they wear their weave, or their wig or weave or extensions or whatever they're wearing. And that's the same for me too. Every time I put my piece on my head. I call it my piece. Every time I put a wig on or whatever that situation is, you know, I get stares all of a sudden. Um, it's sometimes it's to the point to where I'm like, what the heck is he looking at? And then I remember, oh, I got my piece on today. Because I'm just not. I did this to the point to where I'm not used to it. But then when I wear my natural hair, when I wear my natural hair, I don't get. I barely get any attention. So I get more attention when I wear my wig than I do when I put that wig on. Ooh wee. Because I look younger. I look younger when I do wear them. I look younger. My natural hair is gray, so um, that's kind of a dead giveaway to my age. But when I put the wig on, I do look younger. I do look younger when I put it on. So yeah, I get them head turns and everything like that. And don't let me get a new one and put it on. Oh Lord. I'm gonna turn some heads. So yeah. So it's like, but they black men say, and that's kind of confusing because they say they don't like wigs or weave, but then why do they look at you more when you have one on? So that's confusing. They give us mixed messages as far as that. And so so black women, it just seems like we're in this perpetual no win situation type. It's just but I just thought that was really sad. I said a lot of black women were saying, despite the potential health risks that they could get get by wearing these, continuing to wear perms. Some of them was saying, "Well, I don't know what to do with my natural hair. I'm gonna keep wearing my perm or whatever." So I just thought that was really sad, and you know, yeah, it just it's crazy. Um, but yeah, let me know in the comment section, what are you wearing a perm, or sisters, are you wearing a perm, or if you stopped wearing perms, what was your decision? The reason for you to stop wearing perms, or are you wearing locks or some type of natural hairstyle, braids, whatever? Just let me know in the comment section what your hair journey is. Um, but yeah, that's a lot of black women are not, feel like they want to wear the perms just so their hair can be more easier to manage, and I think it's a situation to where black women have to actually learn how to care for and style their natural hair. So yeah, and this, if you care about your health, I guess it's worth taking the time to learn how to actually, but it depends on the situation, because some black women are mothers. They're mothers. They have to take care of children. They have to work. They have to do this and they have to do that, and sometimes they just don't have a lot of time, particularly if they have 3C and 4C hair. They don't have a lot of time to spend messing with their hair because they got so many other things they have to do. That's an issue as well. And I think that's a lot of things that black men just don't understand. Because I know when I had my youngest son, I wore braids for 5 years straight. Literally wore braids for 5 years straight. And when my youngest son was little, I wore braids. I had to be up when he was a baby. I had to jump up at 5 o'clock in the morning and drop him off at the sitter, and I had to him and my other son, and I had to go to work. So I'm getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And no, I ain't. Come on now. Did you imagine me trying to wear my hair natural, having to jump up at 4 o'clock in the morning with two kids? One is an infant, and trying to mess with my hair? No, didn't have time for that. I didn't have time for that. So it was more convenient for me at that time to wear braids, to keep my hair in a protective braided style. As a result, my hair grew out. My braids used to really, really grow my hair. And then when I take them out, I would wash it, condition it, and then leave it down for a minute, and then go back and get it braided again. And so I wore braids for 5 years straight. I wore them out of convenience. It was a style. It looked good. I love the fact of waking up and I had a instant style in my hair, and I didn't have to worry about messing with my head, my hair, and mainly wore braids during that time, mainly out of convenience. It was convenient. I didn't have to spend a lot of time messing with my hair. So a lot of women do that. They wear braids, they wear weaves. A lot of times it's a protective hairstyle, so they don't have to be messing with the hair all the time. And so it's not a every black woman's situation is different. Every black woman's situation is different. And I think that whatever a black woman decides to do, if that's okay for her, and I don't think that she should be judged for it. Of course, that's a whole nother video. But I think it comes down to a point that black women have to make a decision, and I wrote that in the thread. Um, it comes down to black women having to make a decision. Is your hair more, your health. You got to think about your health. At the end of the day, your health is more important than your hair. You can figure out what to do with your hair, but health is serious. Our wealth is in our health, and once you get cancer or something like that, you can't. That's serious. That's life or death. So these perms are causing cancer and fibroids and things like that, then that's something that a lot of black women have to take a closer look. It seemed like to me by now they would have. I would think they would have came up with a more natural perm, with something with more natural ingredients in it that doesn't cause cancer. I would have think they would have come up with something like that by now. But I guess that's something that black people have to work on. That's something that black people need to work on. Black people need to work on creating a perm that is all natural, that doesn't contain all these cancer causing chemicals. So that's something that black people need to come up with, because let's face fact, other races of people don't care. As long as they're making money off of us, they don't care if these perms and stuff is killing us. As long as they can make money. The hair care industry, black hair care industry, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. They don't really care how it's affecting us. It's just as long as they're making money when it comes down to it. But we have to care about our own people. And so that's something that us black people need to come up with. We need to come up with a more natural perm, hair relaxer. Something that's not going to have all these chemicals in it and cause cancer. But, but hit me in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. And go ahead, hit that subscribe and that like and that share. Until the next video, be blessed.